your face on my sheets makes it come off. That's disgusting. Leave my room.
Every 6 months, Kendall Jenner feels the need to remind us that she's not like the rest of the Kardashian Jenner clan, and I'm so tired of it. We are tired.
You think that you're offending me? Because you're not. Like, who gives a shit? Seriously.
When you think of the Kardashian family, certain names probably trigger certain reactions. Kim might make you think of her business empire or her controversies. Khloe might bring up her relationship drama. Kourtney has her wellness obsession. Kylie built a billion-dollar brand, even if the numbers were questionable. But Kendall, she's supposed to be the normal one. The one who escaped the chaos, who built a legitimate career, who stayed above the fray. Except that's not what happened at all. Because while Kendall has spent years carefully cultivating an image of being down-to-earth and relatable, the stories that have surfaced tell a completely different story. From her own family members calling her out for being mean to staff members, sharing their alleged experiences, Kendall Jenner has quietly become one of the most disliked members of her famous family. And the reasons why might surprise you. Let's start with the people who know her best, her own family. In 2019, Jordyn Woods appeared on an episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians. At the time, she was still Kylie's best friend, before the Tristan Thompson scandal blew up her life. During a casual conversation, Jordyn admitted something interesting. She said she was genuinely scared of Kendall for the first 2 years of her friendship with Kylie, because the sisters did not get along. Think about that for a second. Kendall's sister's best friend, someone who was practically living with the family, was afraid of her, not intimidated in an admiring way, actually scared, and it wasn't just Jordyn who noticed. Kylie herself has called Kendall her biggest bully. On camera, in front of millions of viewers, Kylie told her older sister that she's been the person who's treated her the worst in her life. Kendall's response: she laughed it off and blamed it on being sisters. But when you watch the clips of them together, it's hard to see it as normal sibling banter. There's one particularly uncomfortable scene where Kendall is criticizing Kylie's appearance, pointing out her pores, mocking her spray tan, making comments about her body. Kylie goes quiet. She doesn't fight back, she just shrinks. That's not teasing, that's bullying. And the cameras caught it all. The sister dynamic gets even more interesting when you look at their careers. Back when they were teenagers, both Kendall and Kylie expressed interest in modeling. But Kris Jenner only saw potential in one of them. She put all her energy into launching Kendall's career while Kylie was left behind. Instead of being supportive or sympathetic, Kendall accused Kylie of trying to steal her shine. On the show, she literally said there's only room for one model in the family, and that model was obviously going to be her. Years later, when Kylie became a billionaire through her cosmetics company, Kendall had a habit of making little digs. She'd say things like, "I'm not really into makeup like you are," as if Kylie's success in the beauty industry was somehow less legitimate than her own modeling career. The irony is that Kylie had to build something from scratch, while Kendall's entire career was handed to her by their mother.
Without everything, so it's really starting to piss me off. Probably saw the opportunity that you were occupied and this is crazy. I just had an acai bowl. Strawberries are really bad right now. Are they out of season? I have learned so much over the last, 4 years of my career.
We got to get you to school. You've got to go to school.
He doesn't even care. He's like, okay, let's just go to school. My dad just doesn't get it. He has no idea what I'm going through. We go home and do whatever she wants to do.
Like that, because it's not.
Okay. Why every time I could say oh my God, my nail broke, and you'd say, have you eaten today? If I'm being honest, she was here for you and then saw that I was here and felt it was her opportunity.
And speaking of her modeling career, let's talk about how that actually started. Kendall has told multiple versions of this story over the years. In one interview with Andy Cohen, she claimed she fell into modeling through her love of photography. She said her friends would take pictures of her, she enjoyed it, and it felt like destiny. She insisted she removed her last name from her modeling cards so she'd be taken seriously. She talked about running all over New York and Europe, going to every single casting, working hard to book jobs on her own merit. But then, in the same interview, she contradicted herself. She admitted that she presented a little modeling book to her mom when she was 14. And Kris did her Kris Jenner things and made it all come to life. At the Daily Front Row Fashion Awards, Kris publicly thanked a photographer for helping her make Kendall's dream come true. This wasn't a story about a girl chasing her dream. It was a story about a mother making a few phone calls, and once that door opened, Kendall walked through it without much effort at all. Her first job was a Forever 21 campaign called Rocker Babes with a Twist. That was followed by a magazine cover. then a Marc Jacobs runway show at New York Fashion Week a few years later. She was reportedly earning $40 million a year as the world's highest-paid supermodel. The timeline doesn't make sense unless you factor in her name. Real models spend years building their portfolios, going to hundreds of castings, working for free or nearly free just to get their foot in the door. Kendall skipped all of that. And then she had the audacity to act like she didn't. The fashion industry noticed, and they weren't impressed. In an interview with Love magazine, Kendall said something that rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. She bragged about being selective with her work, saying she was never one of those girls who would do 30 shows a season, or whatever the fuck those girls do. She meant it as a flex, proof that she was in demand and didn't need to work as hard as everyone else. But to actual working models, it sounded entitled and out of touch. Model Teddy Quinlivan responded on Instagram, pointing out that models who do 30 shows a season aren't doing it for fun. They're doing it because they need to pay their bills, support their families, and pay back their agencies. These are women who come from Somalia, Siberia, rural China, trailer parks in Tennessee. They don't have the luxury of being selective. Daria Strokis, a Dior model, was even more direct. She said it's 70 shows a season, by the way, and we're all proud of every single girl who did it. Kendall's lack of work ethic showed up in other ways too. According to People magazine, an insider revealed that Kendall often decides at the last minute which shows she'll walk in, depending on how she's feeling that day and how much money they're offering. Most models would kill for the opportunities she casually turns down. And when she does show up, she doesn't always take it seriously. In 2017, she posted a video to Instagram of herself shaving her legs in the backseat of a car on the way to New York Fashion Week. By that point, she was reportedly making $40 million a year. She couldn't be bothered to get ready on time. For most models, Fashion Week is the pinnacle of their career. For Kendall, it was just another inconvenience. There's also the incident that became known in the family as Kendall's runway meltdown. In one episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, Kim hired a professional runway coach to help Kendall improve her walk. Kendall got bored halfway through the session and walked out, saying she didn't want to be there anymore. Kim and the coach were left standing there, confused. This is someone who's being paid millions of dollars to walk down a runway, and she couldn't sit through a single training session. It's hard to imagine any other model in the world acting that way and still having a career.
Her being the highest paid model while saying she cherry picks her jobs and could never do 30 shows in a season.
Next question.
She actually wouldn't allow us as a family to go to any of the fashion shows.
But Kendall's dismissive attitude isn't limited to her job. It allegedly extends to how she treats people in general. There are countless stories from fans, restaurant workers, and people who've claimed to have crossed paths with her in Los Angeles. A woman on TikTok who claimed to frequent the same spots as Kendall said she had multiple run-ins with her, and most of them were allegedly negative.
Welcome back to my series where I talk about celebrities I met IRL and what they were actually like in real life. And this week, we're just going to get into Kendall Jenner.
She described Kendall allegedly cutting lines at coffee shops and allegedly shutting down entire restaurants because she wanted to eat there, even though other people were already dining. One story involved a nightclub where Kendall's security allegedly ripped phones out of people's hands because she wasn't 21 yet and didn't want to be photographed. Another involved a birthday party where Kendall allegedly decided she deserved someone else's paid table and had them kicked out. Restaurant workers have shared similar alleged experiences. One server went viral in 2014 after claiming that Kendall and Hailey Bieber left a restaurant without paying, when the staff followed them outside and asked them to settle their bill. Kendall allegedly threw $20 bills at the server and walked away laughing. At a Brooklyn restaurant called Baby's Alright, the staff posted a photo of Kendall's receipt to highlight that she didn't leave a tip. Other workers have described her as allegedly cold towards staff, often allegedly having someone else speak for her instead of addressing employees directly. One person who claimed to have worked at a restaurant Kendall frequented gave her a 4 out of 10 rating, saying she was allegedly pretty cold and usually didn't speak to staff herself. Even in brief public moments, her disdain tends to show. There's footage of her rolling her eyes immediately after taking a photo with fans. There's another clip where her smile drops the second she turns her back to Gigi Hadid. In one video, she takes a selfie with a fan and then immediately pushes past her to leave. At the Met Gala, she was caught on camera pushing a security guard out of her way. She and Hailey Bieber were filmed mocking Addison Rae's poses on the Met Gala carpet, laughing as they reenacted her movements. These aren't isolated incidents, they're patterns. One of the most unhinged moments came after a paparazzo photographed her leaving her house. Kendall followed the photographer's car through a residential neighborhood, laying on the horn the entire time. When the paparazzo pulled over to let her pass, she refused and kept honking. Eventually, she pulled around and continued tailgating the car in front of her, still honking. The whole thing was caught on video. It's aggressive, it's reckless, and it's the behavior of someone who genuinely believes the rules don't apply to them. And maybe she does believe that because for most of her life, the rules haven't applied to her. On the Ellen DeGeneres show, Kendall bragged about how many speeding tickets she's gotten and how she always gets out of them by dropping her family name. She said cops would recognize her dad and let her go.
I was like, oh my God, I love your dad. Like, I grew up watching your dad, or like, you know, saw him at coffee this morning, so I would most of the time get out of them.
So you'd get out. How many speeding tickets do you have?
I don't know. Do people like, I don't think
well,
I've ever like
the fact
counted.
that you don't know.
She's also been repeatedly photographed parking in handicapped spots. After being called out multiple times, she stopped parking in handicapped spots and started parking in fire lanes instead, when she was caught stepping over a rope at the Metropolitan Museum of Art. Instead of waiting in line like everyone else, a museum employee scolded her on camera. Kendall looked genuinely surprised that someone would correct her. This sense of entitlement didn't come out of nowhere. It's what happens when you're handed everything in life before you've even asked for it. Kendall grew up in a family where money solved problems, where fame opened doors, and where her mother could make a career happen with a few phone calls. She's admitted on the show that she's never done a chore in her life. When Kim tried to teach her, Kendall acted annoyed and dismissive. She once said that if she weren't a model, she'd probably be in the Olympics for horseback riding because a blood test told her she's super athletic. That's the level of delusion we're dealing with. She genuinely believes she would have been an Olympian if modeling hadn't worked out, as if being naturally athletic is all it takes.
Every blood test I've ever done has said that I am like over the normal limit of athleticness.
Yeah. And speaking of being out of touch with reality, there's the infamous cucumber incident. In 2022, on an episode of The Kardashians on Hulu, Kendall visited her mom, Kris, at her brand new mansion and decided to make herself a snack. Kris offered to have her personal chef prepare something, but Kendall insisted on cutting a cucumber herself. What followed was one of the most viral moments in Kardashian history. Kendall held the cucumber in the most awkward, dangerous way imaginable, crossing her arms over each other while attempting to slice it. She looked genuinely confused about the whole process, at one point even asking if cucumbers have seeds. Kris, watching nervously, eventually called for the chef to come help. The internet exploded. People called it the perfect example of privilege, saying it showed just how far removed from reality the family is. One person tweeted that Kendall not knowing how to cut a cucumber was the most tragic thing they'd ever seen. Another said it was like watching someone who'd never been in a kitchen before. The clip became a meme instantly, with people recreating Kendall's dangerous cutting technique and mocking the fact that a grown woman didn't know how to perform one of the most basic kitchen tasks. It was embarrassing, it was telling, and it perfectly captured everything people already believed about Kendall. She's so wealthy, so sheltered, that she's never had to do anything for herself.
Where do you fall?
Probably last. Probably right under that cucumber that Kendall can't cut.
You're just trusting something Kendall said?
Who has no kids?
Who doesn't know how to cut a cucumber?
That cucumber safely. So anyone that says I can't cut a cucumber, it was sliced, it was cut.
But Kendall's isolation doesn't just extend to everyday tasks. Her personal life has been equally scrutinized, especially when it comes to her relationships and sexuality. For years, rumors circulated that Kendall might be gay or bisexual. The speculation started because Kendall was the only sister who never publicly flaunted her relationships. While her sisters posted their boyfriends constantly, Kendall kept everything private. She was also close friends with models like Cara Delevingne, which fueled more speculation. In 2018, Kendall finally addressed the rumors in an interview with Vogue. She said, "I think it's because I'm not like all my other sisters who are like, here's me and my boyfriend. So it was a thing for a minute because no one ever saw me with a guy," she went on to say. "I don't think I have a bisexual or gay bone in my body, but I don't know. Who knows? I'm all down for experience, not against it whatsoever, but I've never been there before." She also mentioned having what she called a male energy or a tough energy that might contribute to the rumors. Kendall insisted she had nothing to hide and would never hide something like her sexuality, whether you believe her or not. The fact that she felt the need to address it at all shows how much public speculation affected her. But the rumors never fully went away. Some fans still believe Kendall is closeted, pointing to her friendships and her reluctance to discuss her dating life. Others think she's just private and that people should respect that. Either way, it's another layer to the complicated public perception of Kendall Jenner. And then there's her alleged feud with Rihanna, which has been simmering for years. According to multiple reports, Rihanna has never been a fan of the Kardashian family. The tension allegedly started back in 2014, when Kendall was rumored to be hooking up with Chris Brown, Rihanna's ex-boyfriend who physically assaulted her in 2009. Sources claimed that Rihanna felt like Kendall had chosen a side, and it was the wrong one, but it didn't stop there. Kendall also reportedly dated A$AP Rocky back in 2016 and 2017. At that time, Rocky and Rihanna were just friends. However, Rocky is now Rihanna's partner and the father of her children, which allegedly added another layer of tension to the situation. Sources say Rihanna felt territorial about Kendall's past relationship with Rocky, even though it happened years before Rihanna and Rocky got together romantically. Alleged beef escalated when reports surfaced, claiming that Rihanna was allegedly trying to get the entire Kardashian-Jenner family banned from the Met Gala. According to Radar Online, a source said, Rihanna has never been a fan of the Kardashians. When Kim was married to Kanye West, she tried to cozy up to Rihanna and got totally shut down. The report suggested that Rihanna wanted to use her influence for what insiders called petty revenge, despite the rumors. Kendall has continued to attend the Met Gala, which either means the reports were exaggerated or Rihanna's influence wasn't as strong as people thought. But the alleged tension between them remains. There's also an old Twitter exchange from 2012 where Kendall allegedly tweeted something about being disappointed if Rihanna didn't perform a certain song at a concert, and Rihanna allegedly responded with "Well, don't come." Fans have also pointed to moments at Paris Fashion Week where Rihanna was allegedly caught giving Kendall side-eye during runway shows. Whether the feud is real or just media speculation, it's clear that Rihanna and Kendall are not friends. And given Rihanna's massive influence in both music and fashion, that's not a great position for Kendall to be in.
Someone calls me with more bad news like every 5 minutes. It's just so stressful.
The problem is that Kendall's behavior doesn't just affect her reputation. It affects the brands she works with, and those brands have a tendency to issue public apologies after working with her. In 2017, she starred in a Pepsi commercial that became one of the most mocked ads in recent history. The commercial came out at the height of the Black Lives Matter movement and showed Kendall solving police brutality by handing a cop a can of Pepsi. The backlash was immediate and brutal. People accused Pepsi of trivializing a serious social justice movement for the sake of selling soda. Pepsi pulled the ad and issued an apology. Kendall cried about it on Keeping Up with the Kardashians, saying she felt terrible. But she reportedly still made $2 million from that commercial, and allegedly never donated any of it to charity.
I would never purposely hurt someone, ever.
Then there was the Vogue photo shoot where Kendall wore an afro, sparking accusations of cultural appropriation. Vogue apologized and removed the images. There was also her tequila brand, 818 Tequila, which she launched in 2021 with a promotional campaign that showed her riding a horse through agave fields while Mexican workers labored in the background. People called it migrant worker cosplay, pointing out the irony of a billionaire parading around on a horse, while the people actually making her product did backbreaking work behind her. The imagery was tone-deaf at best, offensive at worst. And yet Kendall didn't seem to understand why people were upset. But maybe the most manipulative moment in Kendall's career came when she teased a major announcement about helping young people. She posted a cryptic video where she said things like, "I can speak to so many people. I can help you. I've experienced it. I'm very normal. I understand you." Her mother tweeted about how proud she was of Kendall for being brave and vulnerable, for sharing her most raw story to make a positive impact. People speculated that Kendall might finally open up about cosmetic surgery, mental health, or body image issues. Instead, it was an ad for Proactive. She claimed the acne medication had cleared her skin and encouraged young people to buy it. Except Kendall had publicly thanked her dermatologist, Dr. Christy Kidd, for clearing her skin years earlier. So either she was lying then or she was lying now. Either way, it was a blatant cash grab disguised as vulnerability. And that seems to be Kendall's pattern. She takes opportunities that could be meaningful and turns them into transactions. She promotes irresponsible drinking by chugging tequila straight from the bottle in videos aimed at her young audience. She brags about being selective with her work while actual models struggle to make rent. She parks in handicapped spots and fire lanes because she doesn't think the rules apply to her. She bullies her younger sister on camera and dismisses it as normal sibling behavior. She allegedly treats fans, staff, and colleagues with contempt and then acts surprised when people call her out for it. The thing is, Kendall could have been different. She had every advantage in the world. She had money, connections, a famous name, and opportunities most people will never even dream of. She could have used that privilege to lift others up, to be kind, to show some humility. Instead, she acts like the world owes her something. And when the world doesn't bend to her will, she gets angry. She honks her horn at paparazzi. She pushes security guards. She rolls her eyes at fans. Kendall Jenner isn't hated because she's successful. She's hated because she acts like her success makes her better than everyone else. She's allegedly hated because she treats people like they're beneath her. She's hated because she had everything handed to her and still acts like she earned it. And maybe that's the real lesson here. You can have all the money, fame, and beauty in the world, but if you're unkind, people will see right through you. Is Kendall really as bad as the stories make her out to be, or is this just the price of fame? Have you had your own experience with her, good or bad? Let me know in the comments. And if you made it this far, hit that subscribe button because we're just getting started with this family.